So again, I'm going to pose a question here. Okay, so we've got terabytes, petabytes, in fact, of unstructured data in your buckets. And by the way, that's spread across billions and billions of objects here. You think that many of those objects could be deleted or moved to Glacier Deep Archive, but you don't have a way of reviewing every single object. You don't have a way of going through billions of objects and saying, oh yeah, this is a good one. Let's keep this in the bucket or to archive it. So the reason this is a better fit for batch operations is that in this particular case, the answer to that question, should I move it to Glacier? Should I keep it in this storage class or do something else with it? It depends on domain-specific information. It depends on like the nature of the business itself. It isn't a kind of one-size-fits-all thing. So let me kind of explain how we use batch operations more specifically here. Okay, so we're going to start with some business logic, and by business logic, what I really mean here are just some rules. So let's say there's a creator on Teespring who hasn't signed in for 2 years. They haven't sold anything in 2 years. Nobody's even looked at their listings in 2 years. For us, we're very comfortable saying, you know what, this user's not active anymore. We are very comfortable moving their assets, moving those images that had on a few slides back. We're going to move those out to Glacier. Another example could be we unfortunately have had problems with IP copyright infringement on Teespring. It's the user-generated content, so we encourage everyone in, but unfortunately there's some bad actors. And we take action against that, of course. So if we've suspended a listing because they've used a Nike logo or something like that, we definitely don't want to ever sell that because we're making ourselves liable. But neither do we want to delete it because we might have to keep it around for legal purposes later on. So those are just a couple of rules for where, based on kind of internal Teespring knowledge and domain-specific information, we might decide that, you know what, this object actually belongs in Glacier. So we've got the rules. We feed the data in from Redshift and from RDS. Those are the main databases that we use. And out pops a list, really, which takes the form of a manifest file. It's really just a CSV. It says, this is the name of the bucket. This is the name of the object. And in this case, what I'm trying to represent is, in the manifest files are all of the objects that fit the criteria of the business logic, right? So we'll be listing all the assets that belong to suspended listings or inactive creators for the two examples that I gave. And then from the manifest files, you can feed those into batch operations. And it's at this point that you specify the operation, and the operation is like I guess kind of like the verb, and the manifest file is the nouns that you want to apply it to. In our particular case, again, continuing on with the same example here, we've got a bunch of objects in a few different buckets here. What we did was tag them. We applied a tag to all those objects, and then have a lifecycle rule to move those objects out to Glacier.